Okay, so valves. This is probably the engine with you cannot get more complicated than this engine. For start, you have like 5 valves per cylinder, so you need to adjust 20 valves. Mostly you will have 16 of them or something like that. Here we have 20, sorry. Yeah, first thing first, you need to make your life easier and remove everything. So I removed the radiator, I remove carburetors that it's not required, but I'm at that point with the bike, so they are already off. I need to remove cooling pipes that go to cooling pipes, and this whole assembly for cooling and thermostat valve and stuff like that. So now I have space. Be sure to check everything, nothing can drop in the engine, as now when you are open you have here way to directly to your engine. So yeah, if you drop something there, you are fucked. Next tip is I will put, as I did on spark plugs, holes, and remove the spark plugs, as it will be easy to turn the engine while checking the valves and stuff. I put everywhere this just paper towels, and I will put the paper towel in there. Just remember to remove it once when you are done. Find your mark for top dead center on the flywheel here, rotating the engine, and then when it's on compression side, so that mark will show 2 times in this screen, but it's in compression side, and you will know it by on first. This is first cylinder, so on first cylinder the knobs will looking away from each other, and that is the way you know it's compression stroke of and top dead center. When you reach that point, then you will check with the feeler gauges, you will check your gaps. Usually, if, for example, on this engine it's 0.11 till 0.20 is specification, so you need to be between that 2 numbers, and usually you will be on lower side or even below the lowest point. You will be somewhere in 0.12 or 0.13. Very rarely you will find the valves that the gap is too big. Mostly it's too narrow, as valves hitting the cylinder head push by that small increment, they push the valve in the walls of the head, and they influence on this gap between, and you measure this gap. That is not the shim, although you have some engines that have shim like that, and usually that engines allow you to remove it and put the new back on without removing a camshaft, and if that is the case, you are the lucky one. But on this, the shim, this is actually just a cap. Under that cap is the shim that will determine the distance between whale itself and this cap, and by that with this crankshaft here. So If you are not in specification, you need to remove the camshafts, and this is docked, so dual overhead camshaft, so both of them. You need to remove it. Of course, if you have good exhaust valves, for example, and bad intake, just the intake one, but we would need to remove both of them. And then lift up those caps, remove the shims, and I will show you later what to do rest. So, measuring, you put I go first with some rough measuring. So I just measure am I in specification, and I go cylinder by cylinder. Just remember to follow your service manual as you will go 1, 2, 4, 3. So 1 is the top dead center, then 2 is 180 degrees from top dead center on cylinder 1. 4 is 360, and 3 is on 540. So you are rotating the engine, putting in right position engine, and then measuring. First I measure, as I said, I measure just rough, supposed to see am I between 11 and 20. If I'm not, as this is the case, and I'm on lower side, or I'm very close to be out of the specification, you need to put more gap between these camshafts. So what you will do, actually, you will put smaller shim, narrower, smaller shim, and by that you will increase gap enough that you have good specification on your valves. Now, when you measure all, in this case, all 20 of them and write down, then I go over once more and then try to make as much possible good judgment on where I am with each valve. So it is not easy. You need to have feel like you're drawing from the heavy book, like you have feel gauge. That is the best way I can describe it, and I find people use that term, and it's really precise. So you need to feel the drag of the feeler gauge, but not to force it under here, or to don't feel nothing, so you are way over. So you need to feel a little bit of drag when you put the feel gauge in, and that is your measure. So you write down for each valve what is the measure, as you will need that later. Now what we need is to remove first tensioner here for this chain. Then we will remove this chain guide here, and remove this plastic one we also have here to free up the chain. Then we need to remove the sprockets itself, and then remove these caps one by one from the engine so we can lift the crankshaft. Yeah, it is not easy thing to do, I must admit. You need to be very careful. You need to follow the service manual to the letter. You have markings here on number 3 and on sprockets that you need to align, and they will align if you are here on top dead center on compression side, and when you check all that, then start removing as per series manual everything down. I will record only when something interesting is to show you. Okay, here we are. So be careful not to drop chain in there. And the problem is that I don't know in what position I am now, as I need to rotate the sprockets so I can remove the other. So I will need to determine somehow the compression side. How I know I'm on compression side, but actually you determine the compression side with the position of your camshafts. So you put the engine in top dead center using mark here, and then you put your camshafts to be in correct position on cylinder number 1, and the correct position to be compression stroke will be, you know, full release. So in this engine you may think it would be like directly up, but no, they are like in this and this direction. So when you put camshafts and the knobs on camshafts in that direction, you will make a dead stroke, compression stroke on cylinder number 1. Now we gonna took all these shims out, and easiest way for that is use the magnet. So if everything is alright, you will have your shim under there and it's go on the top of the valve. Let's remove them all. Yeah, so this is the shim and this is the cap. You don't touch cap, you just clean it and that's it. But shim is something we want to measure. We will determine sizes of these in this direction. We need to determine first what shim is on. So we need to check for all 20 of them what shim is currently on the bike. Okay, now we have measured all of them. So we had luck, as sometimes that number can be, you know, erased, and then you need to use micrometer. And now if I find, where did I write that down? Now we will compare that to this. So these are the gaps that we got. And for example, I'll give you just one example. So tolerances between 0.11 and 0.20 we have on intake number 1. Let's say, took it for example, we have now 0.12, so we are really near the series limit. We want to raise that up by 5, as you have just 0.05 shims. You don't have these factory ones with, you know, precise numbers. For example, 168, so you can go with 170, 165 or 170. Okay. On intake we have 180, and we want to increase the gap, so we want to lower this shim down, and instead of 180 we will put 175. That will give us tolerance here, not 0.12 but 0.17, so we will be in upper side of specification. You cannot lower it by 10 and put, I don't know, 170, because you would go on 0.22 and you are out of specification. No, widen the gap for 5. So instead of shim number 180 that we have now here, we will go with 175. And of course we don't have 175 here, so either I will have it or I will order it. But if you have, for example, here 175 and you need to change it, you can put it back here and save a bit of money for yourself. So yeah, we will go through it now and make calculations. We find out that we can order, shim by number, so not by 5 increments but by number. I ordered that from Australia. I will put you a link on it. Those are these numbers, so 157, 160, 74, 75. We have just one that match perfectly, that's 178. We had that shim, I don't know, I think on exhaust number 2 cylinder 1. So we just took it from here and put it in here. So that's the only one we have, and I aim on 0.18 for intakes and 0.28 for exhaust. Why 1828? Because I didn't want to go too close to upper level, because you will find out when you put it back you will not get exact measures as you expected, as second decimal on millimeter is very easy to to lose. So we have these shims, we ordered it from Australia, they are already coming. In second video I'll show you, we will just put the shims in right place, put it back on bike, put camshafts on, caps, put everything, put bike back in phase. So yeah, we need to be careful there, check everything, and close the engine head. So this would be it for now. In second video we'll put this all back together. See you guys.